I'm HeyHandsomeWill, Twitch TV / HeyHandsomeWill. I stream Just Chatting, and lately I've been focused. I used to be an interview streamer, but I haven't done any interviews since probably middle of 2022. Uh,
Is that long? Damn.
and excluding, I did one with Pastor Dave and Kai Siren and Forced Wires in the middle of 2023. That was probably the only one I did in 2023. The last one I did with you was you and me and Rose. Technically, it was on her stream. Um,
Yeah.
I think that was in 2022. Yeah, it was 2022. So yeah, Twitch is basically did its little downward spiral around 2022, as far as I could tell. And a lot of people who joined Twitch right before COVID, they just got bored with Twitch when the lockdowns were lifted and they could go do their stuff, do whatever their
Right.
stuff was. Me, I was a shut in before then, so
Same.
so I just I started, like I said, I started streaming like right when COVID happened. So I wasn't really. It's not that I didn't really expect numbers dropping off, because the only time I was doing big numbers was on the interview streams. I'd ran out of people new people to talk to, and I didn't want to repeat people over and over again. That's why I was always doing new one. And then we get to the point where I was making promos, and then people weren't even showing up after I make the promo and everything. And I was like, nah, I'm not doing that anymore. I mean, if
You
there's
don't
a way
want to waste your time.
yeah. I mean, there's one time I spent more time making a promo than the interview lasted. That was
Jeez.
Dope Build. That was Dope Build's gaming, and it just like he just blew out. Yeah, I loved doing them. I loved making the promos. I loved doing the shows and everything. I could see myself doing them again, if I found people, to talk to, new
Right.
people, or just on certain topics. Like I said, my focus right now, I'm focusing on horror TV shows from the 80s, anthology TV shows, which means that from episode to episode, it's not the same characters. It's a whole new story from episode to episode with different people. So it's very, there are very few, or next to no anthology TV shows going on today. That was just a thing that they were doing in the 80s with those. And I went out and bought them, and I'm going to start talking about them in depth while streaming them. For us, it's a Pickstart reunion. This microphone, I always say this. Pickstart gave me this microphone because when I moved
really?
when I moved in my new place in September, I broke my Yeti microphone. I was talking with Bully Munster, who used to be Gabby Munster. I don't know if you know her.
Yeah.
She was I was talking to her, and then my mic was just, I did something, I just dropped it, and it was done. It was done forever. But yeah, Pickstar was nice enough to send me this, probably because he doesn't stream anymore. He's just like, whatever, just have this. So
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, Pickstar is cool.
How did you find out about Twitch?
Well, my friend, this is back in maybe 2017. My friend started. Well, we were playing Overwatch together a few times, and he wanted to start streaming on Twitch. So we talked about it. We were kind of practicing. I was like, he was saying certain things like, well, okay, when you get on Twitch, you're not going to be able to say that word. Now, I'd never been on Twitch at this point. But he'd say certain things like, hey, you're not going to be able to say that word. I can't remember if I ever really looked at it before he streamed, but I know it was around probably 2017 that he started streaming, or 2018 the latest. I'd say 2000. No, it was 2017. And so he only streamed on Saturdays, and he wore a red skull mask and every time, and just played games. And we sat in there and shot the shit with him. Me and some other people who knew him, and other people who knew him online. He played with Lala the Clown. I guess they were playing Fortnite a lot then. And at some point, I knew I wanted to stream on Twitch too, and I wanted to do kind of a just chatting or a TV show style type thing. And I wanted to do my Christmas show. I've always wanted to do a Christmas special. It's never happened. It's never come together. I've done, end of 2022, I did a lot of, several interviews during Christmas. That's the closest I got to it. A lot of those were miserable. No, they weren't really miserable. Some of them were miserable. So every year, that's what I want to do. It's a Christmas thing. So I started it then. Because beginning of 2019, my mom had died, and I didn't have any family. Most of my friends were moved away. Kind of happens when you get older. And so I'm like, well, this is going to be a miserable Christmas for me. I'm like, well, I'm going to do something about it. So I put all my Christmas stuff and then Christmas music, and I plowed through it, and God, I got affiliate within 2 weeks of my first stream because I'd been on a lot of shows before then. Like I was on Japandi Jones a few times, Pigpen Strikes, basically those two, and because at that time they had that kind of podcast style community thing.
Right, they did.
So I've been going on their stuff starting in October, or September, or whatever. And of course, it was harder to get on Japandi stuff, but Pigpen pretty much had an open door policy, which also meant that got a lot of bad people coming in and out, but that's just because it's an open door policy. So it was
it's unfortunate that Pigpen is around that kind of people, but it is what it is. And I know Japandi, he travels a lot.
Yeah, he's and Japandi always remembers me, which is nice. But I just talked in his chat for a little bit, which is he's got a really good memory about people. He's got a good mind. I think once he's seen a face and attach it to something, he can really kind of grasp onto it. Because, he's never he's never been said anything in my chat room ever. Some streamers are like that, and I kind of understand because I remember when he was on the DGen side, and then he's not willing to say he's cleaned up, got squeaky clean, but he's cleaned up, and I understand you kind of want to sever ties with a bunch of psychopaths.
Right. Yeah. That's an understatement.
Yeah, and there's some other people I know who, from that group that got to partner, that don't even want to acknowledge me for one.
Which is it's unfortunate.
It's a little silly because we were all silly together when they were starting.
Yeah,
and they know that on my own streams it's a lot different, and it was like by the middle of 2020. So I'd only been streaming since December 2019. By the middle of 2020 or earlier, I was like, okay, I'm not doing this shit anymore. I'm not going on the toxic shit anymore. And then I started doing my own thing. Bought Animal Crossing, which was hard to find a Switch at that time in 2020. And I was an Animal Crossing streamer for a month or two. And I just met some people. Almost everybody I met was either through Pigpen, and then from Killer Instinct, and maybe one other show in 2020 that I can't remember what it would be. I would say primarily, getting on Killer Instinct was very important for my career. My hobby, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That's where I met a lot of names. I guess it just kind of snowballed from there. A lot of people would just have these Discord calls or Wereby calls where it's not a topic, just so much people show up, and then you have the somewhere show up and ruin it for everybody. But that one guy, you probably know. Well, maybe you know who I'm talking about, but there's one guy who was really nasty, and nasty enough that I still don't. Yeah,
Beginning with a C.
Begins with a O, and then has a C in it for the third word. But they're long gone. All that's kind kind of a history, but it's a history I kind of built up on. But one night, that guy, he was going nuts on his stream. He was going nuts. He literally had like a 16-year-old girl there in his stream or something. Jesus. And he starts all that. He's like, oh, he had like photos of her or something. So obviously, the wagon circled with everyone who knew this guy because he was getting more and more hated anyway. And then he was in a Discord call and like, with like 20 women yelling at him. And so I decided, well, I'm tired. I've never liked this guy. He's always, caused trouble for me or, been very toxic. Mm-hmm. Him and a few other people are the main reason I just shut toxicity down. I don't even let people talk shit about other streamers on my stream. And that's been my policy since 2020. Yeah. It's like, it's like, yeah, I'm like,
follow Kembetsu.
Oh, yeah. Kembetsu. Yes, we like Kembetsu. But anyway, so like I said, he was talking about having pictures of this 16-year-old girl. And I was like, I'm tired of this guy. I haven't liked him forever. And, and everybody just put up with him. And I kept telling him he was a scumbag. So I get in the Discord call with him, and he's streaming live. And so before I get on there, I get this really drunk really fast because I'm like, oh, this is gonna be hard. So I get in there and I basically break every TOS rule I can while I'm on his stream. But almost every word that you're not supposed to say, telling him to do all the things that you're definitely not supposed to tell somebody to do on Twitch. And then after like 30 minutes of that, because he's all fucked up too. He's on coke, he's drunk or whatever. And then Claw on Twitch gets on the call. Now Claw on Twitch had already been banned from Twitch at that time. And
can't say it can't get any worse.
Yeah, that's right. Can't get any worse. But it's also a big TOS thing to have a banned streamer on your thing. So all that combined together, we got him off of Twitch, though. In the end, it wasn't really worth it. It's just Twitch. Everybody could have just ignored him. I'm sure he just made a new account somewhere where he could do more of his weird stuff. But just because, like I said, when I started, it was started people had almost open door policies, and which obviously brought in a few scummy people that had a legacy of toxicity. And unfortunately for some people, I'm still tied to that. And some people just never really, I don't know. You like who you're going to like. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine to like who you're going to like. I only have a problem with it when years later they ascribe something to me without remembering. I had one guy said, you know what, Will, I blocked you from my stream because you're a misogynist. I was on a show, some show with him. And I'm like, you blocked me from your stream. You stream? I was like, I've been on one show with you before ever. What did I say? And he couldn't remember. That's the thing. He couldn't remember what I said that made him, how convenient. And I was like, well, he's like, but I see now you're cool, I'll block you. I'm like, don't bother. I'm not going to go over there.
Exactly.
I don't want to go over to places where I don't want to be, where people don't want me or things like that. There's no point. And, oh, man, I totally forgot. Right before I started streaming, another follower.
Thank you, Papa Smurfy. 95.
I wonder if Papa Smurfy is born in 95 and Smurfs in Overwatch.
Probably. I don't know.
And I can say this because, like I said, I don't tell people really where I live or things like that. But before I started streaming, there was this girl who worked at this coffee shop I used to go to all the time. That's where I would go to work on my book, to just go sit somewhere. And she was a streamer, so I was asking her, some advice on stuff. And, she gave me a lot of advice, and she gave me her Twitch address and promoted it to me and everything. And but then when I went to her Twitch after she gave it and said something in her chat, she freaked out. But she didn't want real world people in there. Like, you gave me your fucking Twitch thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hand my Twitch shit out to anybody. It's just if they're on my Instagram, they know I stream if they paid attention, and that's totally fine. As long as they don't come in and say my government name or anything.
Right.
It's not really a big deal. They're welcome. The people who, like I said, the guy who I came up with, the skull, he stopped streaming because he put a lot of effort into his stream. He did little movie vignettes, and he would do even songs and movies. We're kind of the same mindset on that. He would take movies and put his head on people in there, which, as somebody who does not have Premiere, I'm like, that's got to be pretty hard.
Yeah.
If you don't have Premiere, that's got to be pretty
that's
hard.
what they did when they originally came up with movies or anything. They actually had to physically cut it up or whatever you do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And I'm working on some stuff right now, video editing wise, and man, I don't know if I need a better program or just a better processor, because that stuff is slow if you want to render a video after doing your editing together. But I think Forrest Wires is inspiration as far as theatrical type of streams.
Yeah, he does great. He just comes up with stories. I don't know how much he scripts out things, but it's just it's so fun just to watch.
I don't think he has any idea where his stories go. I think he they just found a bunch of stuff at Goodwill and threw it on, and he's like, all right, let's make it work. Though Gromulus, everybody knows I'm a big Grom fan. He's had the whole get up, for before they stream. There's a great video somewhere of him, a video he made submitted to like Geico or something, where he's like in this rat-filled basement, and he's talking about the Geico chick. It's just people like that, people like me. We were all weird and kind of doing this stuff before we streamed. Before this, I was, I would do public speaking. I was in wrestling, professional wrestling, for 4 or 5 years. Not as a wrestler, but as a manager. Though I was pretty big. I was 300 pounds at one point during that.
Oh wow!
300 pounds and taller than most of the people there. Though I was totally out of shape. I couldn't have done anything. But poetry readings or speaking. I used to blog a lot. I don't think anybody knows what blogging is. It's when you do just chatting, but you're writing it out in words that people have to read. And that's where I came from, was blogging. And I would blog. Well, when you blog, you're just basically talking about your life, and then it's back in LiveJournal days, and a little bit in the MySpace days. So that's where I go from that into Twitch, where I'm talking about stuff that interests me, but also I'm talking about my life. And some people, because I don't play games, that's the thing, I don't play games on stream, like you're supposed to do on Twitch. I'm bad at games, and when I play a game, I'm not talking, I'm not interested.
Right. I think it was 2017 or 2018 where maybe it was before that, when Just Chatting came out.
Yeah.
It was all about games.
Yeah, I think that actually, Saturday, that's what inspired me to start streaming. Because I think I heard about the Just Chatting section. But when my friend started streaming, for at least a year or two, his stream was the only one I watched. And then I think one day I would go through a few of them and say something and get banned. Because maybe I came off the wrong way, or maybe I was a smart ass. And which you can kind of tell when somebody's kind of new to Twitch and they're going around doing their thing. And a lot of the streams I watched then, I kept separate from the DGen side, because I'm like, okay, I'm watching nice people over here. I don't want I don't want you corrupting them.
But then, most people see the negative side too much.
Yeah, well, they wanted to work with me until they, saw, some of the people I worked with, and they're like, they want to be, actors or, stuff like that. But I went back and checked one of them recently, and guess what she promotes now? It begins with an O. It also has an F. I was like, God damn it, man. I mean, if you want to do that work, that's great. But
Yeah,
it's
go
just,
for it.
it's just it's like almost every stream, not all, almost every stream, is just for promoting their outside sexy content. I like sexy stuff, but it's just and I'm sorry, it's true. This is just in my recommendation feed, by the way. This is primarily, when I see these things, I'm talking about what Twitch is recommending to me. Every woman on my recommendation page is an OF model. And I'm just like,
Yasmin. Welcome.
oh, we're stuck with Yaz.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm like, it used to be a time where I could meet new people on the recommendation page,
And
of any gender. They don't have to be wholesome, but they could be nasty or what. But now it's like, it's all it is. It's like, basically I'm looking at a back page, hooker classified or something.
Basically, yeah.
And that's partially the Twitch algorithm.
Yeah.
And then partially just an increase of that kind of stream visibility. Now I still follow, doesn't mean I don't follow women, but the women I follow they're doing stuff other than just promoting their outside stuff. They're talking, they're playing games, they're funny,
Yeah, they actually provide valuable content.
Yeah. And it's a big generalization to say that anybody with an outside modeling thing does not provide content. That's a big, generalization. But I would say a lot of the ones that are showing on my front page do nothing but sit there and, wait for subscribers and do their squats or whatever. And like I said, that's fine. I just wish Twitch had, I wish Twitch had like an adult category. But I know what would happen, just like with hot tubs and stuff like that. Once they made the hot tubs category, nobody was looking at the hot tubs category. Because just chatting is the biggest category of all on Twitch.
It is, yeah.
So the people who went to the hot tub category were getting much, much less views. So then they tried to do another meta to get back in Twitch just chatting. Yoga pants. Yoga pants facing the camera or stuff like that. And, I know where porn is on the internet. I know where to find it.
Right.
I can't think of anybody other than kids that this is targeting, because who have maybe they have some kind of adult site blocker, and they so they have to get their jollies off of Twitch or something. I just don't understand why you. Now, one streamer I really like in the hot tub category is Taylor Javot. She had a video that was done on her by Moist Critical, who was in my YouTube feed. For a while, my YouTube feed was full of this stuff too. Where basically she is on stream, but not really on stream, just her elbow, and she has a hot tub, and she's doing a countdown, to counting down to when she's going to get in the hot tub, and she makes this countdown last 4 hours. And she has 4,000 people in her chat, and they're just going ballistic. They're all entitled. They're all like, "Take it off! What are you calling her a bunch of names?" You're getting kind of nasty, and it's just like, this is so entitled. Why? And also, why does it? She literally has her links at the top to her Playboy model page or whatever.
Hello, Hunter Chick.
Hey, there's
Hope you're doing well.
So that's Edward DeLinden's wife now in the meta of the storyline. But so they're like, "Yeah, take it off." And meanwhile, yeah, she has links to the top for her Playboy model cover. But
Yeah,
she's
okay.
not. She's just like, and she's not. I don't think she's even doing it for money, because I at that time I saw very few subscribers in the chat talking, next to no donations. You know, I think she was just doing it just as a big fu. This is kind of a comedy thing. But yeah, and then after 4 hours, she would just like come in and get in the hot tub for 3 seconds and then stream. It was I thought it was hilarious. At the time in 2022, what was it? 2023. There were only a few streams I was watching. One was hers, and one was the those artificially generated streams for the Seinfeld and the steamed hams. They were great, but they both got banned because the AI started pulling from somewhere else and somebody complained. I don't know.
It's unfortunate. So,
yeah,
what do you think about AI?
I think it's both great and awful. As somebody who's a writer, who's working on a second book of poetry, and I am very meticulous. I go over these poems again and again and again. Like this one I've been touching on for probably, well, gosh, I first wrote the poems in like 2017. So, but yeah, so when it comes to AI, and I know that AI could probably write a poem if you put it in there. And I'm like, first of all, most people don't read poetry. It's just, it's a very niche thing. And anybody who would see it somewhere, they probably couldn't tell the difference between something written by AI. And now I do see AI writing a lot of articles, and I just find the articles annoying because they follow a certain format that makes you read 3 paragraphs in before you get to something. I can tell immediately when articles AI, because I've used ChatGPT to write stuff before to see what it was like. Now you can get some funny stuff out of that. But you have to I got like one really funny little article out of it. You just had to put in the right words. It was actually funny. It was about senior citizens being forced to use birth control or something. I can't even remember it now. But I use the hell out of the image generation, because I do a little art, but not fine art. But I can understand why artists are really annoyed. Partially because, well, a lot of people just use AI art instead of paying artists. Right. And if it's done right, it's great. It's right up there immediately. It looks good unless you look at it with a fine eye. Like I said, if you made AI art, then you can spot the stuff in it that you're going to see in AI art. But I think the issue is the AI art draws its art from somewhere on the internet. So it is taking, from DeviantArt or stuff like that, or, long time established artists. So, these people who did the original art, and maybe they're seeing their art, similar up on somebody's page. I think the big thing is just that, very few people are paying for art now, probably, or less people are paying for art.
Yeah.
Which
it's just so convenient. Just to type something in a program, and here you go. You get whatever it is you want. Whatever it is you want.
Yeah, and I've played around with it a lot, and I really like it. I find it a lot of fun. You can't make naked people in it though. Though if you really try, in like the big big ones, but if you really try, you can. And that points to my own sadness that as a person who just complained about OnlyFans streamers for about 20 minutes, that I'm using AI to see if I can eventually get a boob to get one boobie. Just sitting there for hours trying to do this.
Maybe if you're desperate enough, sure you can try.
Yeah. I would like to. I'd like get a hold of like the raw AI stuff that isn't like filtered, like the ones you would see on Microsoft, or I use Night Cafe. I know there are a bunch of others. However, I think you have to actually put that on your computer yourself and run it that way, because I would like to see, because it also like filters out like artist and celebrity names and stuff like that. I would like to see what I could do with it without the filters on it. But I know I'm not going to put it on my computer. I don't know what that would open me up to.
Yeah, who knows?
Viruses.
It wouldn't be good.
Things like that. Now, so do you use the AI art for stuff?
Sometimes, yeah. Every so often, I try to make thumbnails just to see what it's about. Yeah. Like there was something I did where it was talking about Marvel and how Marvel handles death in the MCU, and it came out with a thumbnail of Iron Man. It was really cool to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much you know about the MCU, but it was so interesting.
Like, you can't really see the detail, but about 50% of the books behind me are comic book graphic novels. I've been into comics for a long time, and since I was 8 or 9, read my older brother's comics whenever I could, and used to work at comic conventions. But I got rid of a lot of comics when I moved, because there were a lot that I had and I just never, because I would buy a whole bunch of them for cheap and I just never read them. So I finally got rid of them, and I don't collect comics to sell. I collect them for myself. So like if you get a comic book signed and you don't have it verified there at the convention, it's basically worth nothing. Because anybody could forge a signature. So you can't really sell that comic unless somebody just really trusts you or something like that. But I always have them signed or made out to me, which they're not used to, because when you're at a convention, and I saw your question there, Kim Betzer, but when you're at a convention, you wear a little badge that says either you're an attendee or you work at the convention.
Right.
So they see the badge. They don't realize that I'm just there to work security. I'm really there to work security and help with the loadout. And so they assume I'm just going to flip it and sell it to eBay. So they're never in a good mood usually, until I say I want it made out to me. And some people don't want to do that, and I understand that. It's a lot of pressure to spell somebody's name right, right. on their precious comic book. I would have to have them write it down, and I do it. I'd just be so scared. Who is my favorite Twitch streamer? It's a good question.
It's a good question.
Because recently, and I was talking about the hot tub / yoga pant algorithm that was just getting worse and worse and worse. Twitch did something. Oh yeah, they added the where there's like drug use or language or sexual stuff. So those streamers had to tag it with their sexual stuff, and that makes them not appear on the recommendation. Which means you have to go specifically to the just chatting category separately. Because it was getting really bad on the recommendation. And I finally clicked enough not interested things, but then these channels started showing up that were just showing South Park 24/7 or The Simpsons 24/7. And I'm like, I'm just going to watch this. I mean, I could sit and watch all these shows just on my computer, but something about the mindset that you're sitting there and there are other people there and it's kind of random episodes coming up. I never thought I would like that. But I've kind of been inspired to start my own pirate TV channel here on Twitch. Of course, you have to be careful about, what you're streaming. No nudity, obviously.
Of course.
And are you going to get DMCA'd? Stuff I have is like the rights are like up in the air. They're not on any streaming service. So, but my favorite streamer, I'm not going to say Forrester Wires because blow too much smoke up his ass already. Let me open up my Twitch. Let's see. It's gotta be one. It's gotta be one. A lot of the people I used to watch do not stream anymore Saturday. They just don't. Like so many people just stop. So even if I would just casually go in there, they just stop. Just looking over here, I'm just seeing who's online because this would generally be the time I would be on and watching. Man, I guess Forest Wires is the only one I can say is my favorite streamer. Because I don't spend any time in anybody's streams anymore, really. I just watch these TV and movie redoing things because I was just like, the social aspect kind of died. I could go in, I could go in one of these channels over here on the left and somebody who I interviewed or whatever at one time. They're just sitting there miserable playing League of Legends. You ever seen anybody happy playing League of Legends?
Never.
They just there are some YouTube. There are some YouTube channels that I follow all the time, and I can give you a list of those right now. Red Letter Media is the biggest one. They do movie reviews, and when I was first working on fixing up and painting the house I had after my mom died, I was just listening to their YouTube channels. Which, so I went through like 5 years of their YouTube stuff, in like a month or two. And when if you binge stuff from the beginning and then you get to the end of it, Wrestling with Regret, Jim Cornette, those are both wrestling things, obviously. Wizards with Guns, that's a hilarious comedy channel that I really love.
I can imagine.
They do really good skits. Wizards with Guns. Pretty much, yeah. I follow yours. Pretty much, I'll follow anybody. I wish YouTube had a better way to organize your follow things. This is just a big list.
Yeah,
just a big mess.
True.
I like movie reviews. Funny, fast moving movie reviews like Mr. Sunday Movies. That's good. Another wrestling one that I really like, Wrestle Me, and they do really tight stuff, and it's really intimidating me because I've wanted to start a YouTube channel since 2022. I just wanted to start one because as Twitch kind of died out for me, I'm like, well, maybe what I was meant to do is not sit and talk to people live. Because then you're affected if there's nobody in there. Like, why am I streaming? You get that feeling, sometimes. Yeah. But then I came to discover, it's kind of a social thing for me now. It wasn't really a social thing for me now, but it kind of is a social thing. And if I could be a little hub of just a handful of people, it's pretty cool. I used to be very uncomfortable with being, it's my stream. I used to be uncomfortable with anybody in my chat saying hi to each other. unless I was doing like an interview or people were coming in from the community. I was just your most watched channels, I think it goes by most recently updated, but Red Letter Media, all one word, is my very tops. And like I said, a couple of wrestling ones. Scammer Payback is a good one, but it's so sad. I don't know if you know him. He goes around and fights all those phone scammers that are always, cheating the elderly out of their money. Because that happened to my mom one time. Someone pretending to be from Microsoft called her and totally scammed her. And I came in the room, was like, who are you talking to? There's something going on. But she was like, there are several times what they do. I mean, these scammers, even if there's one of their children, adult children around, they'll turn this person's head around to where they think that they better not talk to their son about it. I mean, that's the first thing they do. If they, well, you have to do it with me. And then that happened to my mom several times, and they always turn out to be scammers. And she was afraid that I would like be mean to him or whatever. I was like, yell at him. They're just, I don't know. But yeah, so, Scammer Payback, but like I said, it's too depressing. I don't really watch it much anymore. And there's a lot of, free, copyright-free, royalty-free music streams. That's where I get stuff like for the Minotaur songs. that music comes from. God, it's either White Bat Audio or Carl Casey or one of these other ones. Because I don't have a band, I have no musical skills from making music. I know there are tools where you can do that, but I don't have any of those. So those were very important to me. I always said, if I ever make money, then I'll sign whatever license or something. I mean, these things also, unless it's provided from YouTube itself, if it says it's free, there's always a thing on there where you're supposed to do this and that and this and that. I try and read that stuff just to notice it. Some of the YouTube provided music is pretty good, but you got to sift through a lot, especially if you're picky about it.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, there's so much of it. Who is this? It's live. Click over there. The WOC archive. I have no idea what this is.
What is it?
I don't know. They're just at the top of my subscribe. I have no idea who this is.
Interesting.
The Internet Archive is very, very important to me. I find a lot of stuff on the Internet Archive. It's hard to search it though. I've been, I'm preparing my personal TV channel. It's going to be showing, Tales from the Dark Side, monsters, Ray Bradbury stuff. Just, these 30-minute anthology horror weird shows from the 80s. So I've been looking up 1-900 number. I don't know if anybody remembers those. They don't exist anymore. You cannot get a 1-900, but they were all, you call the number and it's like $2 the first minute, and then $1 every minute after that. And they're almost always, most of them were originally like phone sex stuff, okay? But occasionally you find cool ones that were like psychics. Like, who is your dog in a past life? There was one that was for crying. I guess you call and hear people cry or cry into it. Like I said,
some weird shit.
Yeah, it's like, sex stuff or like psychic stuff. And sometimes just for character. Anyone that was horror related, I would find those. I found one for Boglins. Boglin was a toy that Gary the Goblin is a Boglin. He's a toy from the 80s. So that's what a Boglin is or looks like. And they're their own 1-900. The only 1-900 number I ever called was when I was probably 10 or something. And because the numbers always say, well, ask your parents first. Well, your parents not in the house. I know how to dial it, because they charged it to your phone. You didn't give them a credit card number. They charge it to your phone. So if you didn't pay, I guess you lost your phone. But there was an advertisement for the movie Howard the Duck, talking about the MCU.
Right.
One of the very first MCU movies was Howard the Duck. So it's just a walking duck guy who gets zapped into the regular world. For some reason, I was obsessed with Howard the Duck. And it had like a 1-900 call and talk to Howard the Duck or get secrets of Howard the Duck. I have no idea what it said. I just know that my mom was very upset with the phone bill because it just says 1-900. So she obviously is going to assume, late night hot ladies. Nope, Howard the Duck hotline. And I think I don't know if there was a way to block 100 numbers or whatever, but I could definitely imagine in the age of cell phones where a number you call can't really charge anything to it, that it pretty much just blocked, or I just know they don't sell them anymore. You can't get a 1-900 number. So it was some kind of legislation happened. So I kind of missed out on that. Just like, or phased out. Like, do you remember GeoCities? That's a little bit before your time.
I know.
Okay, yeah. For those out there who don't know, there were places that would host your website for free. You could make a tiny little website that didn't use, much, their storage or whatever, but you make your own little website. either use templates or wrote our own HTML, very basic HTML all the time. Well, GeoCities doesn't exist anymore. It's just gone. I think a Japanese company bought it, and it's just gone now. So that's because I when everybody was talking about maybe Twitter was going to disintegrate, and then they said, well, I'll go to Tumblr and make Tumblrs. Nobody ever updated their Tumblr. And I was on Tumblr for a long time, and I still use Instagram. I don't use Facebook. I use Instagram. Just post pictures of shit. You know, I don't want to hear all the weird racist stuff the people around me might actually think. You know, you can be friends with somebody until you read their fucking Facebook post. And you can be friends with somebody until you read some of their stuff. You know, I don't want to. I'm not a. Yeah, we all have our political ideals, but I don't really want to talk about it. I'll talk. Yeah, and I don't. It's just that stuff is just balls out bonkers. And talking about getting rid of the farting yoga pants streamers, they don't show up on my recommendation anymore. And now, by the way, nobody shows up. Twitch cannot figure it out. They're like, this 49-year-old man doesn't want to yoga pant farting streamers. It broke its brain. But oh god, I already lost my train of thought. And maybe for a recommendation or wherever I was going with it, from GeoCities to making your own thing to that, whatever. Ask next question. I got lost on my own tangent.
I think it was about next question was the
politics. Yeah.
Yeah, politics. Yeah.
For recommendation, I see nothing political on my Twitter. I see barely anything because of the way Twitter algorithm works. If you post a link, that's why I never post going live links in. Because if you post a link and you don't pay, then your post gets buried. They intentionally will bury your post if you're trying to promote yourself. I think M60 has kind of a way around that, where you post it and then reposts it. But he also pays for the blue check mark. But yeah, Twitter is just it's just a wasteland, because you could actually miss your friends posting just because the way it works. I don't really even follow that many. But I see nothing political on there. Then I realized, okay, I do follow some political, but I muted them. You know, because some people just post politics all the time. And I'm like, I follow you. You're welcome here, but I just don't read this, all this stuff. So, what is my favorite horror movie? Well,
that's another good question.
My favorite horror movie of all time is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original one.
Classic.
It does a lot with a little. It's completely balls out insane. It's definitely that grindhouse style. But it's the one with Leatherface in it. There's a lot of kind of scary stuff in there. It kind of mixes in a little bit of that scary hillbilly stuff,
Yeah.
Like, hillbillies are well, they were then, maybe not so now. Scary. It's the whole thing where, a bunch of young kids, they think they're on top of the world, and they're smarter than everybody. They run into one, hillbilly, and it gets scary. As a guy who lives in the South, I think some of these hillbillies are scary too. As an adult, it doesn't. I could deal with it now. As soon as I went gray, it was no issue. I could take care of these people. But if they found you vulnerable, and because like I said, I've lived in the South my whole life, but some people just find the way I talk to be, like I'm talking down to them. Some people just have that kind of voicing. The fact that I went to college. but Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Prince of Darkness, and Exorcist 3. Exorcist 3 is the scariest one that I like. Prince of Darkness has some scary stuff in it, but I like it mostly just because of the John Carpenter score and just how it works, the pacing of it. It's a very good pace. He's the guy that did The Thing and Halloween. Prince of Darkness. And then, like I said, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's just balls out insane. So those are the top three. But the fourth one is holiday one is definitely one of my number ones. Is Black Christmas, the original one with Margot Kidder. That's the one that ends with, well, maybe somebody here hasn't seen it, so I just spoil it. Yeah, I think
Hello,
Ken Betts, who
Mr.
probably knows
Tori.
them.
I guess it's Tori's birthday. So I guess we should say happy birthday.
I guess. Not my stream. No Love for the Leprechaun's Curse. That's the movie Carl played 27 times the beginning of last year. And I can proudly say I did not once watch that movie from beginning to end. But I know the whole movie because I would watch parts of it over the 27 times it was shown. And of course, and Carl also showed Prince of Darkness a lot, which he had seen before, but I reminded him of his existence because I still remember, he should see. I'd forgotten about it at the time or something.
Yeah, you should definitely watch it.
Yeah,
I have not seen it yet.
It's quirky. Like I said, it's just for me. I like it as a guy who likes movies. I like good movies, but I like good movies of a certain kind. I don't like good dramas. I have no real interest in dramas. When it comes to horror, I generally only watch stuff made before 1990, with some exception. And people were like, "Well, it means you're watching those things over." Still haven't seen, or maybe I just forgot because I was on drugs, so I can't watch the movie again. Like, oh, I forgot all that. I did that a lot for 7 years. I was on Ambien, and I always watched a movie or two with my cat in my lap, and also my laptop, and I would be writing stuff while this was on. And I had that laptop forever. It was a good laptop. The only reason I had to get rid of it stopped being supported. All the operating system, I can't remember what it was. Windows XP maybe. It was the Windows where you could actually just play DVD movies in it. You can't do that with the current operating system. You have to get like VD player, which I was blown away. It was I got a DVD reader and I have a lot of movies, a lot of physical movies. I went, okay, put it in to watch it. Oh, Windows 10 or whatever it is. It can't play movies. It will not play movies. You have to download something else to do it. I'm like, that just falls out insane.
Yeah, it's stupid. That's the way the technology goes.
And I don't buy physical movies anymore for the most part, unless they're Blu-ray and very special edition, with a lot of the extras and stuff like that. The reason I bought a lot of movies for a long time is either they were cheap and I just wanted something to watch, or they had commentary track. And commentary tracks I like a lot because I used to paint miniature. And so before podcast and before stuff like that, I had commentary tracks or books on tape, because then you don't have to look at the stuff, you just hear it. You just listen to it. So, and so that was kind of it's pre-podcast, and I know they're not podcasts, but I refer to my YouTube channels I watch as podcasts. So
right.
I know some people watch me and they just go sit on the couch. And I'm like, that's weird. So I hear my voice over there, and that's great. But I'm like, I could do a podcast. It's just the thing of I always default. It's just easier and lazier to go live stream and talk.
Right.
Than to sit there and write a script and all by your lonesome, talk to the computer. That just depresses me, and it shouldn't. It's just I should just take the time to do it. I'm working right now, trying to take the time on making bumper graphics in between the shows I'm going to I don't know if anybody, you remember TV when watching commercials on TV. I know you at least remember that. Some people out there probably barely do. I have TV in forever. I've streamed
Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
Commercials with the toys.
Yeah, and I used to love, in the 80s, I was a Transformers guy. I loved the Transformers. G.I. Joe. Mostly Transformers and He-Man. He-Man was a terrible cartoon. Transformers was good.
Whoa, that's a hot take.
Yeah, I know. The original He-Man was supposed to be more like Conan the Barbarian, watered him. But I had all those.
Right.
I had a lot of toys growing up. I had a lot of toys. For a long time, I thought our family was the richest in the neighborhood. Turns out that was not because my friends didn't have toys. Turns out they actually went out and did stuff. They went to shows instead of getting an action figure. They went out and did stuff, and I just stayed at home in my own brain for the part. But yeah, like Quentin Tarantino, big Quentin Tarantino. So I'm buying his
he's
cool. Yeah, once
he's
every couple.
cool.
Yeah, once every couple of months, I'll buy one of those on Blu-ray, just so I can get the highest quality picture.
Right.
And I'm sure, like I said, I actually bought, since I plan on streaming, I actually bought a copy of Tales from the Dark Side.
Oh, neat.
Mostly because I couldn't find it anywhere online to take. And this is like bare bones. There's no special stuff on it, but like I said, I sold my house recently, so I had about $1,000 I could spend. The rest going into having, a little bit every month to cover my rent. Because I have to pay rent now. I don't own a house anymore.
Right.
So I bought a nice rug and an external hard drive, a terabyte, and another not so nice rug, a desk, and there's a few other things.
That's a good question.
Favorite celebrity encounter? Probably Harry Anderson. He was the judge in Night Court. I couldn't really tell you a lot of the other stuff, but he used to come into the comic book shop that I went in all the time. And sometimes when you see a celebrity, you don't really realize who they are, but you hear their, you're like, wait, that voice is really familiar. I only met him a couple of times, but he was actually down to like hang out with me or something, but I didn't really talk to him or bother him. I just assumed that he didn't want to. My camera went out. Is that you or me?
No, I was changing the song.
Okay.
That's fine.
Just making
You're
sure
good.
that wasn't me.
Camera's good.
Okay. I also met Edge from WWE, the wrestler Edge, when I was working in. It's kind of funny because I was working or going to a comic book store. I didn't really work there except for their convention, but I was working at the animal shelter, and Edge came in to. He adopted like rescue dogs, food, and I can't remember if one of the ladies there told me he was there or looked at him, because when people are on TV, they kind of have bigger heads and bigger faces.
Yeah.
I think having a bigger face kind of lends yourself to being on TV, maybe, or maybe it's just in the mind. But that was not a case where his voice activated in my brain. But he was also like shorter than me, so they lie about this in WWE, that. And I wasn't really fanboy, but as he's leaving, this he retired time, and from some kind of neck injury, and thought he'd never wrestle again. Okay, you want me to carry that out for you?
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you $50 if you hit me with it. He was like, you have to pay more than that. I worked with Mick Foley, so I did once, and so I can't really call that an encounter. Jake the Snake was mostly just lying in the back of a van. One of the Russian wrestlers, Ricky Morton. These are all wrestlers, mostly from the 80s. He was super nice. I didn't know who he was either. A lot of these are wrestling, because another one was The Giant, and this was in the mid 90s, because I had was taking one of my friends to the airport in Atlanta, 3 hours. And I had only just started watching wrestling again at that time. I grew up with wrestling. Saturday morning cartoons, and I stopped watching those, and we started watching wrestling. And of course, I stopped that once I was in like high school, and I only started again because my girlfriend was editing a newspaper, and there was a column in there where a guy was writing about wrestling. I was like, why are you putting a wrestling column in the sports section? This is dumb as hell. And he was a greasy nerd. He was like everything. You're like, oh my God. And but she was editing it, so she had to read it. And she wasn't a wrestling fan. You know, we were both English majors or graduates. You know, I was in grad school. And then I started looking at it like, oh, I recognize that name. Oh, he still wrestles. And I just know one night I turned it on, started watching it, and this is right during the classic Attitude Era of Stone Cold Steve Austin and bad guy Hulk Hogan and Mick Foley. So anyway, I just started watching again, and I drove this person to Atlanta airport, and I see this giant guy waiting in line, huge guy. But I didn't know, but there were two really big guys in WC, Kevin Nash, and there was the giant, and I didn't know which one it was. And so I didn't want to say anything to him if I called him the wrong name, that he would like plow drive me there in the airport. So that was a close encounter. Other close encounters was David Carradine. It's at Dragon Con.
Oh.
He was just walking through this huge crowd. He was in and then
He was what?
He was in Kill Bill, the movie Kill Bill. He was Bill.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah,
and
that's a good movie.
Yeah, and he it's another one of those things where you just see him and suddenly recognize him. It's like they're more crisp in a crowd. It's so interesting. He was looking for, I don't know, he was looking for a party or something.
Probably.
Again, I could have invited him back to the room probably. But lucky I didn't. He probably would have hung himself. You know, who knows?
Jesus.
You know, that's how he went out. Sid Haig, he was eating breakfast, and I'm like, I'm not gonna go bother Sid Haig. He was the clown in House with House of Corpses, and he was in a lot of exploitation movies from the 70s. Kevin Sorbo, he was a jerk. Oh my God, I don't know what kind of drugs he was on. I was in a green room somewhere, and he was just going off on me for doing something. I mean, my friend, I just turned my back to him and ignored him. But he was just on and on. I don't know what he was about. Gosh.
You met a lot of people.
Yeah, it's they're all from conventions.
Right.
You know, from mostly from conventions. And when I was working wrestling, I'm like, sometimes it's kind of, a lot of my quote unquote heroes are much older. They're like in their 70s or 80s. But yeah, I don't know if you would include going to a convention as an encounter. If you're waiting in line for
it doesn't really count.
Oh, Rosario Dawson. I'll include this as an encounter. She was signing something at a convention. She had this huge line, and I was just walking by and looked over at her, and she looked at me like. So sometimes people look at me and they think I'm somebody, or maybe they think I'm somebody else, and just like God, for a brief period of time, I'd go to the grocery store and cashiers would be like, "Aren't you somebody so and so?" Like, no. What?
I guess you have one of those faces.
I guess. Maybe there's somebody who looked like me on it.
Right.
Briefly, I looked like John Cusack, but I had different glasses. And then other times, people, if they're younger, they automatically assume I'm a teacher. I did go back to my alma mater, the college I graduated from, just randomly, bored. And it's like 9 o'clock at night. And I just go into the buildings, walking around, and everybody just lets me go wherever. They just assume I work there. That was a lot of fun.
So would you go to school for
English?
English?
Yeah, English. And we were originally, it was like for writing and editing. However, by the time I graduated undergrad, everything was in website stuff.
Right.
So I wasn't really prepared for that. And a lot of people I knew, we ended up just doing graphic design. And so there's like two different kinds of graphic designers. There's the take elements that already exist and put them in a very interesting, whether it's clip art or whatever. And then there's the people who can create clip art. I was not the kind of person who could do that because I draw like an insane person. But yeah, I did that, and then was studying for MFA. The MFA is what they call a terminal degree. It means you don't really go on to get a PhD after MFA fine arts. A lot of the other masters, to become a PhD, you do your undergrad, then you do your master's program, which is 2 years. And then you do your PhD program, which is 2 years. A lot of times these take a lot longer.
Yeah.
But that's like the minimum, 2 years. So 4-year college, 2 years, 2 years. So, I mean, I know a lot, like my brother has a PhD, and a lot of people who get their PhD, they get all high up on it, but they put a lot of work,
right.
Just, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to get a PhD.
It is a lot of work.
Yeah.
I got my associates in business. The classes weren't too difficult, but still.
Yeah, I started at community college, which is where they would also do associate degrees, but it also transferred to the 4-year. And I loved community college. I thought that was great. Everybody was there to learn. I only encountered like one jackass, I think, in my whole time. And maybe to some other people, I was the jackass. Question for Will: if you could rebook any storyline in wrestling history, which one? I feel like I've thought about that recently because I watch a lot of these wrestling podcasts. Wow, that question is a little too
what
hard.
Era?
Yeah, because there's so many eras, and the current era I don't really know.
Yes.
Because I
Only
see,
one I kind of know is Mankind and Steve Austin area. That era.
Yeah, and like I said, I kind of came back in when of course, Mankind was my number one, guy. I think he appeals to kind of the creative type that isn't very attractive and maybe can't do anything technical. Now, in reality, he definitely knows how to work in the ring. And man, rebook any. I'll have to get back to you on. I'll have to think about that. So
Okay.
It's a big. It's a big. Because all I can think about is how maybe they did. I mean, I would rebook Ultimate Warrior not having a trap door in the ring because a different wrestler fell into it and got infected leg from all the steroids and died. I would rebook Owen Hart coming down from the rafters. Would rebook that. I just all I can think about are some of the best things that I've seen in wrestling, and there aren't like really many wrestling that come to my head until there's a situation where I suddenly remember them. Because like I said, when we were a kid, there was WWF, which is the polished stuff, and then there was like WCW, where they basically the shows that they recorded and showed had like this is a set of like high school bleachers, and they would be like in a dark, grim armory. But that was on TV that you could see more often. WWF was on different cable channels, which we didn't get most of them. But they had their cartoon, they had their action figures and stuff like that. But the WCW, NWA, that was tough stuff. That was the gritty stuff.
Yeah.
They weren't commercialized. So many great characters, man, and a lot of blood, a lot of blood back then. Mostly in WCW. And you see some of these guys later, and at their old age, and their foreheads are just like a mass of scars because they've cut themselves so many times to bleed. And when I was doing it, I would tell people, listen, never bleed for less than 30 people. Don't bleed, because whenever
you
an
gotta
attractive,
make it worth it, right?
Yeah. Whenever an attractive woman would show up into the crowd, because there's one time a friend of mine did, everyone in the back would notice her, and they would be, who's that? You know, what's she like? Blah blah blah.
Oh,
Like,
jeez.
you think she'd be interested? I'm like, what, do I think she'll be interested in a married man with a kid? Get lost. All these wrestlers are scumbags, and if they're not scumbags, they're on steroids and they're totally protecting somebody else, if somebody else from a scumbag. So, like, never do an angle with the girlfriend of another wrestler, because they're watching like a hawk. They're afraid of everything. They're afraid you're going to sleep with them. And I'm like, first of all, I'm not into these you know, these toothless, you know, whatever, toothless aggression lady. I'm not into that. Man, it's just like, yeah, blood. That's what I was thinking of, blood. So we'll move on from wrestling for now, unless you have any specific wrestling questions. Like I said,
Right.
I don't follow it. Once I did it, I started doing it, I stopped watching it. And the last like angles I was aware of was like Bray Wyatt, and they had the Firefly creepy thing. I never saw him wrestle. I just watched his promos, and I really liked it. And at that time, I had a big beard and straw hat, and, you know, floral print shirts, and that's what he wore. He died recently, very young. I could think of, a lot of wrestlers die really young. I mean, I get
I
surprised.
mean, it
when
makes
I see-
sense.
Yeah,
They get so beat up.
yeah. They put so much in their system, usually drugs and steroids, mess up their heart. You know, so like a combination of things. And a lot of them are just some of the ones, the bigger ones, you know, the ones that carry a lot of fat, you know, they go out pretty fast, usually. It was their hearts just can't handle it. Wrestling.
What comes to mind is Rikishi. You remember who he is?
Yeah.
Didn't he pass away recently?
I think he did. I'm pretty sure he did. I'm pretty sure he did. I wonder how old he was.
Not sure.
I'm interested. He had a few different gimmicks. I think he's still alive.
Oh, he is, okay.
I think there was some guy. He's 58, so good for him. He's,
Nice.
you know, my dad was 58 when he died, and Rikishi making it.
I mean,
to
he
this.
is Samoan, so it's
Yeah,
just
somebody-
the genetics.
There was somebody very
to be
similar.
bigger. Yeah.
There's somebody very similar who I feel that I know it. There was a guy named Umaga. All right.
Hello, Trinity. Morbid Trinity.
Well, King Mabel, Viscera. I would be surprised if Viscera is dead, because he put on a lot of weight. I'm thinking of Yokozuna, who put on a whole lot of weight too. I'm looking at, there's actually a Wikipedia page, list of premature wrestling deaths. Going up to the 30s, people in their 30s. A lot of the 30s list is really big. Well, they made one error. They put Andy Kaufman on the list, and Andy Kaufman is still alive.
Oops.
Yeah, Bray Wyatt, who I was just talking about, oh my God, who died like last year, 36 years old.
He's so young.
36 years old. Heart attack in his sleep, resulting from a COVID-19 complication.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. Of course, Eddie Guerrero was 38, and that was awful. Eddie Guerrero was.
Oh, wow.
I can't believe he was.
How long ago
38.
was that?
That was early 2000s, right?
Yeah, I remember. I know
Because
of
a lot of sometimes I watch matches. Yeah, 2005. Sometimes I'll watch some of these old matches, you know, whether it's like from the 80s or 90s, and then I sit there like, oh man, all these guys are dead. Because all these guys are dead.
Jesus.
There's Davey Boy
Wow,
Smith.
05? That was 19 years ago.
Oh yeah, I keep saying the South Park movie. I don't know if you ever saw the South Park movie. It turns 25 years old this year.
Don't say that.
And I saw it in the theater.
25?
25.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
The Canada one? Or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at wrestlers in their 40s, and 40s is probably, well, it has to be the biggest, longest list.
Probably.
After 50. I mean, man, so many people that, and there was just drugs. So a few car crashes, mostly just drugs. Viscera is dead. He died in 2014, a heart attack. That's King Mabel, who someone mentioned earlier. Yeah. When was that? Okay, I'm positive I'm gonna find wait, Dustin Diamond. He's dead. It's 2021. I forgot about that. He was on Saved by the Bell. Man, Bam Bigelow.
What character did he play? You remember?
I was well, first my name was El Gordo. And that's when I was 300 pounds. I played the part of the owner.
I see. I cannot see you at 300 pounds.
It wrecked my health, that's for sure. And I have to be careful because my weight is creeping back up again. When I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, I had a kind of a wake-up call and lost a lot of weight. I still don't eat any better. I just eat half of the amount of the bad crap I ate before.
Right. It helps.
But I played the role of the owner. And it's one of those things where they put you out there like you're supposed to be a good guy or a neutral guy. But as you can imagine, like I said, in the South, a lot of the local wrestling fans, I was not their cup of, so eventually you lean into it. Then my gimmick, that I went to college. I'm the smart guy. Because if you want to do it, if you're okay with people hating you, it's easy to do that. And they hated me. They just despised me.
Haters for the hate.
And then all the wrestlers wanted to work with me because that's how they get heat by, being the foil to the bad guy, which was me. But I'm a big guy, but I mean, at that time I wrestled like when I was a teenager.
One sec. Thanks for the follow, Zeldero. Is that how it was? Yeah, welcome. Zeldero. K. Zeldero. Can I actually speak? English is hard. I want to know what got you into wanting to get that degree in English, was it?
Yeah. It's basically because I already knew how to read and write. I thought it'd be easy. I already know how to speak English. That'll be fine. I've always been interested in just art in general, whether it's like the lyrics to songs and things like that. I wouldn't say I was really particularly well read, but when I was 16 and I dropped out of high school, and I had some time in between when I dropped out of school and when I was starting community college at 16, I read a lot of books. Like my mom had all the Stephen King books. I've read all of them.
Oh, wow.
And it's not high art, but you're reading, so you get a feel of the cadence and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then at the same age, I would get every fantasy book I could from the library. I was big into Dungeons and Dragons. As a Dungeons and Dragons nerd, which actually prepared me for doing stuff in wrestling, doing role play.
I see.
And also
that
prepared
makes
me
sense.
for doing stuff. Also prepared me, so wrestling and D&D role play prepared me for Twitch and playing the heel, and then me, just leaning into that. The problem, of course, is people watching streams don't necessarily know when someone's a character or not. You got to be a character all the time. And I'm not always a character. Some stuff is me, obviously. You're exaggerating yourself. But yeah, so I had an interest in writing, and when I got into college, I discarded my Dungeons and Dragons life. The wrestling life fandom as a kid kind of already been discarded because I wanted to appear to be more sophisticated because goth chicks wanted to write poetry to impress goth chicks. It was so stupid. Whatever your hobbies are or what your passions are, keep them, obviously, no matter what. Also, I didn't find out till later that all the hot chicks were actually playing Dungeons and Dragons. Like, God damn it!
Dang,
I
you
just stuck
lost.
with it. Instead of,
You lost your chance.
Yeah, stick to your guns. Just stick to your guns. But I ended up, well, not officially married, but I was with the editor of my paper for about 10 years.
Yeah. Oh, paper.
Yeah,
Okay.
newspaper. Back when newspapers existed.
Yeah, those were a thing.
Yeah, those were a thing. I mean, I had ADD and did not know it. I knew I had issues with concentration, and I thought it was emotional. I didn't know I had ADD until like 2002.
I see.
And so I was very up and down with my grade in college, and I had assistance through a disability assistance there, but I didn't really know how to utilize it. But yeah, I kind of just bullshitted my way through college.
Yeah.
Because when you're in English,
That's what you do.
basically all you do in English is write a big paper at the end of the semester. That's pretty much it for most of it. But yeah, my grades would go from A's to incompletes. I was very, very inconsistent. And and then I wanted to write poetry. I did write poetry, but as soon as you leave college, unless you have the right kind of connections, your writing is never going to be seen again.
Right.
And like my book of poetry that I wrote and then put out pretty much, I think in 2018, I can't remember, or 2017, 2018. It just kind of got really side railed. I didn't really get to promote it at all. And actually, my Twitch was originally supposed to be about poetry and writing after the Christmas stuff, but nobody wants to watch that. And
Right.
I just decided just to be my character, which is also myself. And now I'm moving into the movie discussion.
Okay.
A lot of
Enjoy
times-
alert. Rainbow unicorn. Yeah.
A lot of times I've been
I'm
passing out on
listening to the
stream.
stream. Oh. Say it again,
It's
Will.
like- I've been passing out on stream recently, just falling asleep. Not from passing out from drugs or drinking, just literally just
Yeah.
falling asleep. It's so weird. I think I've fallen asleep on stream like 2 or 3 times in the past 2 months.
So I was like that with Hearthstone when I transitioned my content from Hearthstone to Minecraft. I got so bored with Hearthstone that
Yeah.
I fell asleep. So
What happened with me? Okay, the 2 times I remember last. One time was the last Mage Tower that Carl did. I can't remember if that was this year at all. Maybe it must have been December or something. Anyway, so I was watching it on my stream as he was doing it, and at one point I just fell asleep, and then I got raided. Lithadora had guided a raid by Dr. Foxmeat too. So I had a chance to like really make an impression on some new viewers, and I was just asleep. So hopefully that's what they want to see, an old man asleep. And the other one was like 2 nights ago. I was just watching, like I said, I was showing these shows on my stream, and I just passed out. Of course, I had been drinking a bit that night too.
I see.
I drink a lot less, but I discovered that streaming was a little healthier for my lifestyle than just sitting offline and drinking. And I spend way more time in people's chats than I do streaming. I started out as a guy in people's chats, and I am that way now. We were compared to partner streamers. A lot of them, they will never speak in your chat,
Right.
even if they're lurking or watching. I think maybe they don't want to wreck saying something.
Right.
Um,
Like they'll be like,
yeah,
oh, it's a check mark.
yeah.
Put all your attention onto this guy or gal.
Or they're like trying to be very professional, and they don't want anybody to do a screen capture of something they said later on.
Yeah.
Like these assholes that save everybody's DMs on Discord.
Yeah.
Oh my God, just usually.
Oh, jeez.
I mean,
I
it's
think we all know who has done that.
yeah. I know several people who've done it. So who knows? There might have been one recently. I don't know. Like I said, when I first started on Twitch, I've been out. I hadn't done anything on the since like 2012. So for like 7 years, I was doing nothing online,
Right.
which is a big change from what I've been doing before. And everything changed. There's no more blogs. Everything's on Reddit, which I'll read Reddit from Google, but I don't participate in it. Twitter was kind of back then. Twitter was less characters, and I didn't like that.
Yeah, it was.
Facebook was still around, but it was
160.
always Facebook was still around, but it was always you're friends with your racist uncle. Like I know so many people my age on Facebook and still messaging their high school crushes. I'm like, that's I'm sorry.
Yeah, get over it.
That's weird. But I was in a different mindset. So then I come to Twitch, and I'm always the oldest person in the room. And it's like you can tell who's mature, and who is just the kind of person that would post. You remember that not that woman, not girl, her in a gym. It's like, this guy's looking at me and I'm a 22-year-old minor. Like,
Okay.
no. I was like, when I was 22, I was halfway through grad school. I was not a victim of being looked at.
Of
Though
course.
women obviously do have it differently than men. Not discounting that, but it's just some random guy put in a chat with women in their 20s, and sometimes you can't just look at somebody and know their background.
No, you can't. No.
But they are I view them all as my peers among streaming, because I still had stuff to learn. I have no problem with somebody younger than about something, because there's a lot I didn't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information to have. But I do have an issue where I've encountered a lot of daddy issues. People have a lot of daddy issues. And there or some teacher they probably had as a kid, and they live online and they live in tech, so they always have to be right. Or they're the kind of people that live their life in Call of Duty lobbies. So their idea of comment is just being the biggest asshole on the planet, just like for no reason. A lot of people just go off for no fucking reason.
Yeah, so weird.
It's always on me. I'm like, what the hell? All I did was come in and say hi. So fucking weird. It's just daddy issues and insecurity and rage issues, maybe. But yeah, it's like, but the best advice I got was from a doctor on Twitch, who isn't around anymore. He said, we did a show, we were talking about poetry, and after, well, these people are not your, you don't have to consider yourself peers, as in they're not my, that doesn't mean I'm better than them, but they are not my peers. They are not on the same playing ground that I'm in. I don't have to afford them the same kind of tolerance than I would, my peer. You still should be respectful to people, obviously. But basically, he told me this is like, they're not your peers. They're more like the student group, and I'm more like in the teacher group. I never really saw myself that because I was always learning. Also, I tend to date women, a lot younger than me. I don't anymore, but in my 40s, I date women in the 20s. And my litmus test in my mind was, they're in grad school. That means they're mature. And then I was like, that's not really the case, And it's hard not to be talking to people, men and women, who are 25 or something, and I'm 49 now, when that's everyone that's around you, And
Right.
with one misstep, it's usually a guy. He loses his shit, and he's like, you do this, you talk to these women. I'm like, well, you know what? I probably talked to some 40-year-old women in here. And also, there's a lot of old people around on Twitch. And but those people don't realize it. Most people don't know Carl, 48. He's only 1 year younger than me. And a lot of their favorite streamers are pushing 40. They're pushing 40, but they just they want to participate in mature activities, but they don't have the maturity to handle the fact that they're not on the same playing ground. Some people are, I call them stream marks. That's what you call a mark in wrestling. The mark is the guy who's like, he's going to believe everything. He's gonna buy that T-shirt or the T-shirt of your opponent, So when I call somebody a mark, I'm not talking about a fan. I call somebody a mark. I'm somebody that's really getting into the drama or being said, and they think they know everything that goes behind the scene, and that's
But
why.
they don't.
And that's why for you, for example, you're like, hey, Will, don't go. I'm like, I'm not going to be known as the guy who challenged Saturday to a race. I don't want to be known as that guy on Twitch because they don't know what's being said behind the scenes. But all they see what's in front. And I think it would be pretty funny. I think at Mage Tower RL we were on the standing competition, which was a thing I joked about with Pickstar 99. I was like, well, you're an ableist. This is your ableist stream, Pickstar. But we also had that meta of the standing stream. And actually, I was hanging with this girl I was seeing at the time, and this is like obviously 2019. I just started streaming. It was like New Year's Eve or something. It was like, you got to sit and watch this. And it's just a bunch of people standing and going absolutely insane. That's pretty much all it was. But still, to me, it was like, this is nuts. It is nuts. That's why they never did it again. They tried to do it one more time. But I mean, that's just behind the scenes stuff. And I know a lot of streamers, I'm going to name any, I'm not going to, a lot of lady streamers who have boyfriends pretend they don't have boyfriends. And I understand that. Honestly, I understand that decision. For privacy reasons. Yeah, and also for financial reasons. And maybe it's just not their business.
And safety too.
Yeah, I've dated a streamer before, and I said nothing about it while I was doing it. And it wasn't to get me more money, because nobody was tipping to me, for my OF. Just because private, but you can't really assume too much about private lives. And streamer marks, they just get really wrapped up in what they see on the screen, especially when it's between other people.
Yeah.
When I was doing my interview shows, I always talked to the person beforehand. It's like, what are you comfortable with? And I had an issue briefly in the middle where they were like, oh yeah, I want you to go really hard on me, really hard. I'm not really comfortable with this because it has to happen organically. And if I just sit there like an asshole going off a list of things like, tell me about your butthole or whatever, if I'm not really have that dynamic, that fun dynamic, it comes across as just mean and gross. And I don't think people watching understood that. That to me, there was a difference between forcing it and being mean and gross. I just wanted to know, what they were comfortable with. And of course, I'm me. They have to understand I'm me as well. I interviewed, what was her name? Baby Cav. And she was a born again Christian, And so I did my best not to be, too nasty. I mean, she wasn't
Right.
a protected little innocent, but still, if I know what the deal is, then that's what I'll go with. Same with the Mage Tower RL. It's like, oh, this is like Pickstar 99. Well, I've got a few hot jokes ready to go. Still, Carl, I still remember. I think it was Clint 1717 told some kind of Holocaust joke that just made all these new fish, all these 19-year-olds. No offense to 19-year-olds in here. If you're 19 and you're in here, and I'm talking shit about people who are 19 or 20, I want you to understand you're probably talking shit about them too. But yeah, he told that joke, and which I barely remember, and it just caused, oh my God, it just caused this mass exodus of hurt feelings.
Jeez.
And then he did another one that was some kind of incest joke, and then someone took that personally. Someone took it as a physical assault. I'm like, what is going on? It's like, it wasn't said to you. No one said, I'm going to do this to you. He was just he's being, his usual coked up self. But
Yeah.
he was from that
Typical
meta.
Clint.
And I did tell Rez, because I was Rez Pickstart. I don't know how much it was Rez, but I told Pickstart, I was like, what you did was you took the classic toxic degen streamers, about 50 of those. But then you had to fill it in with a bunch of new fish who had never seen any shows like this. It was obvious. And they actually thought they had a chance of winning. They were there.
Such a horrible experience.
Everybody was unhappy. The women especially were especially unhappy. I think it was Clint, it was Oxus, and maybe Modi, who basically drove half the women out. Doesn't surprise me. Though Modi's pretty much loved. He gets a lot of love in the DM. I think Modi kind of operates similar that I do, is that he gets told certain things behind the scene. So if he's saying something to a woman, usually he's been talking to them behind the scenes, maybe, or thinks they understand. I don't think he's really as bad. He was banned for a while. I don't think he's banned anymore. Yeah, he was in Carl's stream a few months ago. I was talking. But yeah, the thing is, I met a lot of people from the Pickstar 99. So many people that I was able to use, on my show. Carl, and I think I met Kai Siren. I can't remember where I met. But I know it was Melhisi.
Were you on Survivor?
I was once. I was on like 2 of those shows that they did. There's Survivor, and then there's like crappy dating shows. I say crappy because they're all lies. They're all fixed.
Yeah. A lot of people get so wrapped up into those dating shows, they think it's real.
Yeah, that's another streamer mark thing is, and sometimes they want to bring people on just to have that variety, or just any guy who's dumb enough to. And I've done 2, but I'm like, okay, I already know what's going. I'm the old guy. So this guy can't get his dick up. Why should he date? Blah blah. And I'm like, I already know. Going. I think I only did 3. One I did was for Trinity 876, which I was begged to be on, and then one of the judges freaked out over something I said to Trinity, who I used to talk with a lot before she started doing her thing in the past year or so, and which isn't really not really showing my ass. The first time I met Trinity was on Killer Instinct. I had no idea. I didn't know she'd been on. I had no idea she was. I'd watched the TV show, but I mean, she was like a baby in the TV show.
Right.
And I didn't know who she was. So I just treated her like everybody else. And I found out, I'm like, oh yeah, I wasn't being nice to you because you were on TV. I was being nice to you ironically because I actually, just hated you immediately or something like that. I didn't hate her, but I can't remember, but I met a few other people from the Pickstar 99 who I did stuff with. I started out because you were like behind the scenes, I remember that.
It was, yeah.
Because we had those pods, those groups of 6, that would start, or 6 or 8.
That was
And
psychotic.
three of the people in my pod had already been permabanned for my
Of course.
okay,
Damn.
permabanned for my stream, and like personally, I just despise them.
That's too bad.
For face-to-face interaction, not chatters.
Mm-hmm.
But they were the ones that caused the least problem for me. We were like, we're here to work. Like, we get on there, we're here to work.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I approach streaming. And I found the best. I'm here to work. And just like wrestling, there's some people I do not work with. And I think that was I don't want to say it was, but I was on a stream, maybe Killer Instinct. There's somebody on there who I'd not talked to in like a year. For all I know, they were DMing me. And she kind of lost her shit with me. And I'm like, you know what? I need a do not work list that I tell people about. And some people, maybe people have the right to stand up for them. People have the right to do what's comfortable. People have the right to say, I don't want to work with Will, or I don't want to do that. So I say, I have a do not work. And some people don't want to respect that, even before seeing it. But my do not work list is, I always tell them, listen, this is not a list that says don't bring this person on your stream. This is a list that says if they're on your stream, don't bring me on the stream. So, they can have first pick, but, I'm not going to work with them. Sometimes I would be on a show with somebody like that, but it was generally not a game show. It's, somebody causing trouble. But they were in there, and there was like 1 or 2 people I worked with a lot who just because toxic means it spreads, obviously. Right. That's what it means. And it spread to her. And she said some stuff to me, and I'm like, oh, whoa, you're getting caught up in this. This stuff's not real. You're getting caught up in it.
Right.
And I was sitting there. I was the Minotaur in that chat. This guy comes in crying.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's like crying real tears. And just like,
really?
this guy said something to my girlfriend. That was some clip making. And so that spread. I'm sitting here in Minotaur. I'm like, well, am I supposed to break character? I don't know what to do. And I didn't break character, and she got really mad about that. You gotta check yourself, lady, because this guy's
it's a difficult decision when to break character.
Yeah, and that's why we were there to work. By work it'd be the same as in wrestling. Show up to the show. We're ready to do this. I'm gonna put you over, and you're gonna do this. Except it's not really scripted. It's all between us. But we're like, we're here to work. We know the deal. We know the insults get passed and forth. We know all this stuff. But the other people were not clued in, and a whole lot of hurt feelings. These people showed up thinking they were going to win the prize. I just laughed. I'm like, you're not going to win. Then again, Hunter chick, who just showed up on Carl's stream like a month ago.
Yeah.
Who was only in the Mage Tower because she pestered them over and over and over again. To get on there, ends up fucking winning. So you never know. You never know. I mean, it just
you
comes
really
on the
don't
scene.
know.
Comes on the scene, bam, does this, bam, and I was like, well, shit, all right, no, you're new, but now you're Grand Master or Grand Mistress. I mean, you pulled it out. There were rules to the show, and I did tell Carl, I didn't expect you to go out that fast. I'm like, you've maybe not have paid real close attention to the shows I've been on. I never win. I always vote up. The dating show. Oh God, I was on it's always the same. You're all blah blah blah. I just stopped doing it. So, not because I thought I was going to date somebody. Of like, if I'm going to be on a show that's scripted, just let me in on it. You don't work the workers. That means you don't try and pull a fast one over on the people doing content. Like I said before, I have people on the show. I tell you this, and that. Here's what's gonna, what you're comfortable with. But if you bring somebody on a dating show, and it's scripted, yeah, you got to let him in. There's another big show I was on that had a fixed ending, and I'm like, I don't really care if I win. I'm on this show to get my face out there for people to follow my stream. I want to have fun. I'm not expecting to win anything.
Yeah.
In some cases, it would be nice if I did.
Yeah.
But I was there with the last two. Yeah. I was there with the last two, and then he won. He's a nice guy, but I'm like, I put a lot of work in it. Well, weird. And I found out later from somebody that they've been directed to change their votes. And I was like, I'm okay with that if you let me know. But
yeah, I mean, it's respecting you.
Yeah, you don't throw two guys in a ring together in a wrestling, and then, not change the ending unless you want it to be the Montreal Screwjob. That would have been the case of Bret Hart, where Vince McMahon came out and they did a fast count. He was supposed to win, but they screwed him over. That was a big moment in professional wrestling history. So at the end of the show, Bret Hart's just like spitting on Vince McMahon live on TV.
Yeah.
That was kind of the case, And, the dating show I was on, like I said, Semper was on that. Semper was the one who was the prize. I'm not trying, nothing wrong with Semper. I'm not trying to date Semper. It doesn't mean I don't like her, but I'm just on the show. But I'm playing to win. If I'm playing to win, even if I know I'm not going to win. But it's always the same. And then, so I stopped doing dating shows because it's always, they bring, I'm the token guy they bring on there. And I talked to you about this before because you were on CuteBot once.
I was, yeah.
And I think I told you, it's like, man, they uploaded your stuff, but they didn't even tag you. They didn't say your
weird.
name.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a really dick move. Not even in the body of it or a little editing that says your Twitch tag. And obviously they didn't ask your permission ever. And
obviously,
you had no idea it was up there. It was just like
until you showed me.
It's like hot e-girl dates Professor Xavier.
Yeah.
You can do that and still say Saturday HS on Twitch. Now you probably got some follows while you were on there. When I was on there, I got 100 follows.
I think that's roughly how much I got to.
And I lost almost all those followers because I was sitting there playing Animal Crossing. And they came in the next stream, and some guy just said, "I thought you would be funny." I was like, I just sat there at my computer. I know. By myself, I'm just playing Animal Crossing. I tried to get on there again. The only reason my Discord crashed every time they pulled me in.
Oh, really?
And that actually happened. If you're in one group in Discord and you're like watching it with a popped out screen or something or whatever, and they drag you into it, I don't know, something about her Discord is weird. Because
it is, yeah.
I guess maybe permissions or whatever, because they dragged me in and my cam would turn off. They're like, turn on your cam. They only give you like 2 seconds. Like my cam was on. What happened? So
yeah, that's Discord.
Yeah. I'm pretty much moving toward not being on stream as much, but at the Mage Tower, there are people I saw in chat. I don't know if I'm going to bring back interviews with these people, with the Mage Tower people, because a lot of them don't stream, and I pretty much only interview streamers, obviously on Twitter, performers of some kind. Because they have to know how it kind of works, that dynamic. And then there are all people already knew, something like that. But there are a few new people. It's nice to meet. I know Barbie Zodiac is there, and she does interview streams on her thing. So I think she's nice. Denim Blonde didn't really get much of a chance to talk, but I followed her stream. Of course, I already know Veronica and. What else was there that I remember? Well, Yasmin. Obviously Yasmin. I know Yasmin. So I guess, and Scar, the angry Scar guy, who I've always liked his stream. So I did meet some people who stream that I could talk if I wanted to, but I don't know if I'm ever going to bring that back. I whined about I didn't. talked about it nostalgically for a year. It's like, yeah, I used to do this. And now it's like almost 2 years, and I'm like, I have to admit to myself, that's not coming back. I'm not going to be doing that again. Something on Twitch changes a lot. But the last one I did was Carl and Pastor Dave, Bible Boys Church, and Kai Siren, and I believe you know Kai.
Yeah, I do.
And that was my beach thong bikini stream where we were all in swimwear. So anybody who was there, wasn't there, missed Carl in his swimming trunks. And Pastor Dave, of course, Pastor Dave stopped streaming pretty soon after that. But that was on Kick. I did it on Kick because I wanted to, okay, Kick is new and it's different rules. So we don't have to be near a body of water, bikinis, And I had like 3 people who said they were going to show up, and they're probably going to either wear bikinis or, inflatable sharks. Which I wanted somebody to come as an inflatable shark, but Regina wouldn't do it. Regina, this is over on Kick now, but she does remember being on the same stream with, because I brought up, hey, yeah, I'm going to be talking to Seth. You remember when you said your arms were stuck in there and how awful it was? I was like, how embarrassed she was. I don't. Some people have just moved over to Kick streaming. I don't understand why.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're getting money over there, more money, but they just want to have a fresh start. I mean, maybe I'll stream over there again.
Mm-hmm.
Over there, it's just HeyHandsomeWill, not handsome.
See.
Because I got in there on the ground floor, so I could actually have the username I wanted. But do you have an account over there?
I do. It's Saturday with an extra Y.
Wise.
So, do you have any final thoughts? In chat, do you have any questions for me or Will? I'm gonna wrap up here if nobody has questions. So.
Yeah, we've been going 2 hours straight. Pretty good.
Yeah.
They've fallen into a coma from the sound of my voice.
Probably did.
That happens. Like I said, I literally do have people will turn on my stream and are actually listening to it, but it's on the couch.
Chaotic Old Boar.
Is he streaming?
No, he's
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
There he is. What's the current state of pro wrestling? Chaotic? I don't know. I don't watch. I don't watch it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I tried watching it and it just bored me. The PG era of WWE, it's just so flashy. It's just so flashy, and I'm okay with that, but it's just Attitude Era had intimacy. You felt like you could actually be in the room with the people in the ring.
Right.
Also, a bunch of new people. I don't know. The old guys. I don't want them around.
Yeah.
In a ring again.
Time to move on.
Yeah, time to move on. Like Edge is in his 40s.
Wow.
CM Punk is in his 40s. The CM Punk thing is the only thing I paid attention to, because I think he works. He would be a great streamer in like one of those group streams. He has the ability to make people love him and on the turn of a dime. As far as his wrestling goes, I don't even know. I literally just don't watch it. I know sometimes people show AEW events in their Discord, so I just.
Yeah, I think you know who Saga is. Saga Gathered.
Yeah, I know Saga.
Yeah, he does the wrestling thing. The wrestling shows on his Discord. Yeah.
He's a big wrestling. He used to have a belt for the WMO.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I just caught his stream randomly, maybe last month. He doesn't really stream much at all. And, I saw about like numbers, I'm like, the only problem I have with people lurking on my streams and, laying on the couch is that if you're not in there pressing a button or typing, you don't count as a viewer.
Right. Yeah.
And viewership is snowballs. If you're like under 10, nobody's coming in. It's so stupid.
Right.
I mean, the more higher your number is, the more people are like. Now, my sidebar of the people online, it's not organized by viewers anymore because you can choose random relevance or viewers, and I choose the random ones.
I changed it.
Because
I
always thought it was really
recommended.
bad. I always thought it was really bad just to have the highest views.
Yeah, I agree.
R-Truth still looks good. Generally, in my opinion, who knows? I'm probably still like 5 years behind on.
I haven't followed in such a long time.
But for a while, I was just doing call-in shows. I think for like a year and a half, I was just doing call-in. That was like my big thing. And for like Toe PhD and Bible Boys Church.
Yep.
And maybe one other one. There's some good ones now. I mean, there's a guy goes by Leslie something. I'm like, he's actually online. I just anyway, he does like a one of those cheesy inspirational advice hotline type shows where it looks like it's on on a public access TV. It's got a really good look. He actually he has a mullet, and that's dedication. If you're gonna live with a mullet.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, I had a fun time doing the call-in streams. But the thing is, the bigger they get, and I'm just putting random energy into them, and I'm like making their content. Then the bigger they get, they just kind of throw you under the bus.
Right.
I'm like, okay, that's fine, but not everyone does that. Some people just stop streaming. But I stopped calling in, but that was a big part of what I did for like a year. I got a lot of follows from that. Totally forgot about that. And then I found Carl's channel, and then I just sat there like vegged out in front of the TV, just eating potato chips and just basically just stopped doing everything. It's like potato chips, eating potato chips, watching the stream.
Gotta watch Carl and the Gobs and Gromulus and you know how it is.
I got my Grom puzzle next to me, and I'll tell you what. I got like most of it done, but then
nice.
See the rest of it's which is solid black. Well, those pieces are just solid black. And I'm like, it's hard to find pieces that go together, but it's really cool. I'm gonna get it for.
Nice.
I have a couple of Gromulus T-shirts. The book, hopefully, it's coming soon. I know it's been shipped out. I've got cards. I never thought I would buy a streamer's card, so that's I was a mark in that case. Now I'm buying cards. And I showed some friends of mine from college. Look, I have a card. It's just a picture of a Minotaur. They're like, what? This isn't you. This is a picture of a Minotaur. I'm like, but that's me. When in reality, that Minotaur is actually a professional wrestler by the name of Mantor from I think early '90s. He was a very terrible gimmick. Obviously, he would come out with that huge thing, and he was like 5 feet tall when he took it off.
So to wrap up the stream, can you show the viewers Minotaur?
I think I can.
Let's see if you can.
I'll see if I'm. Sometimes he's not always lined up exactly. Let's see. Here. I'm the spooky ghost of the Minotaur. When I died in the Mage Tower, I became a ghost and I haunted the hallways. Ooh, every time they were off stream, I went in and I said, hey, you, I'm Minotaur still. I'm not dead. Pretty cool. And I think Saturday HS is a cool guy, too. And when he becomes a ghost, he can come live in Ghost World with Minotaur.
Let's go.
What a terrible thing to imply. When you're dead, you can come be with this this cutout thing with a mouth. But yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it was a good time. Yeah.
Good questions. There were basically zero lapses in me running my mouth. And also, the best thing is I didn't ask you any questions. I have a bad habit of doing because I did interviews myself. So I wanted to ask people questions.
Right. I mean, makes sense. Makes sense.
Still talk. So.
Until next time, we might meet again in Carl's stream. But
we shall
for
meet
now,
again. And
we're going to be rating Ant Prevails. So, see you guys next time. Do you have any final words?
My final words, I'm looking forward to see who you talk to next. And I bet it's going to be great. And I think your series is off to a good start.
I'd say so, yeah.
So I'll be coming with you into the raid.
Yeah.
So, bye.